What's going on, guys? We are on site today at 60 apartments that I'm building outside of Charleston, South Carolina. There are 3 buildings that are already framed up, under roof, and totally roughed in with electric, plumbing, and HVAC. They're framing another building over here. And then the last building, you can't really see, but it's going to be around the corner. That has not been framed out yet. Kind of crazy backstory to this, but I bought the property with roads in. I think they were going to put medical or office here in 2019. Yeah, 2019. So we went through the process, getting it changed over to apartments. There's huge demand for residential in this location, and so we got it moved over to apartments, but we had to change all the infrastructure. So we had to rip up the roads, put in different types of sewer and underground type of utilities in order to get this in the right position. And then all of a sudden, we just used that investor cash in order to buy it and start making those initial improvements while we went through the zoning, and then we started shopping it around to banks. And in 2020, we had a bank loan that was supposed to be closing for the construction loan on this thing, and obviously COVID hit, and banks went into the PPP mode and the EIDL mode and all that kind of stuff, and nobody knew what was going to happen with the lending industry, and all the banks crapped out on us from giving us financing. We continued to use investor cash until about August of 2020, and then we ran out of cash, and we had to focus on the properties that we didn't have labor, we couldn't get material supplies for, that were already, built and had tenants with an eviction moratorium, and we focused on management on some of those. So this property ended up sitting completely unmoved for almost a year and a half from there, until we got to a point where the partner that I had, the operating partner, came to terms and said, hey, listen, this thing's kind of like underwater for where it's at right now. I can infuse more capital, but it's diluting my equity, doesn't make sense. Let me just buy you out. And so got him a little bit of money to cash him out. And then I brought in new equity investors, our private lenders, in order to infuse more capital. Got a new bank loan in place in 2022, early 2022, closed on that, and we were able to come through. But because this thing sat vacant for almost a year and a half, we had to replace about 40% of all the lumber. So we went through and had to put in new beams and change out a bunch of the boards and all this stuff, which turned into like this big process. And the city wasn't happy because it had sat for a year and a half. So we had to make amends with them and get on nice terms with them too. So got the property, got on good terms with the city, got the lender in place, raised more capital, and went through, changed out all the wood, all that needed to be changed out, rewrapped everything, got them under roof, and then roughed everything in. So let's go take a walk through. I'll show you what it looks like. There are 5 buildings, 12 units per building, and there are 40 2-bedroom units, and there are 20 1-bedroom units. I'm going to show you what a 2-bedroom looks like right now. So we actually just walked in from the porch. It's got a huge porch, a lot of outdoor seating, along with a nice little closet out there to keep any of your outside stuff. I'm standing in the living room right now, and here's the dining room. Hey, Dad's here. He's in town visiting from Cleveland, Ohio.
Hi, folks. Hi.
Dad, can I borrow some money?
Yeah. Okay.
This will be a granite bar that leads into the kitchen area. So you got all the kitchen stuff all along here, and then in the kitchen is like the hot water tank, the utility room, and there's in-unit laundry as well. There's actually a pretty decent-sized laundry where you can have a full-size washer, full-size dryer, along with plenty of cabinet space up top. So you can see all this orange piping is for the fire suppressant system, the sprinkler system. You see all the HVAC stuff through here, all the electrics roughed in, all the plumbing's roughed in. As soon as the inspector comes in and gives us the green light on this, they're actually prepping those other buildings right now to put the siding on, and there's some brick up to, I think, the first story, and then we have siding throughout the rest of it, and then we can start coming in here, throwing insulation on all the walls, and start drywalling. So we expect this to be done from where we are right now. The first 3 buildings should be done in the next 90 to 120 days. Knock on wood, right? This project's been haunted with a lot of delays, so hopefully that's not the case. And then from there, the last 2 buildings, which are being framed right now, are probably 60 to 90 days thereafter. Here's the master bedroom. Pretty decent size. You got a big walk-in closet along with an ensuite bath. And then back here in the hallway is the second bedroom's bathroom, and this would be like your guest bathroom for if you had any friends over, they'd have access to this one. But even the secondary bedroom, pretty decent size, along with a real big full-size walk-in closet. So nice layouts, you know, pretty efficiently laid out, really, really well done. And we actually just contracted land across the street to build another 48 to 60 more units. And we're going to take these exact same plans, the exact same layout, and utilize these plans over across the street. So we had 60 units here. Now there's going to be a little bit more efficiencies in place because we'll be able to build another 48 to 60 units over there and take this to about 108 to 120 units, which means now we can justify on-site staff, on-site maintenance, on-site management and leasing and handle all that. So yeah, super pumped. We think the one bedrooms will rent for around $1,500 a month, and these two bedrooms will rent for around $1,800 a month. But we're also having conversations with some of these third-party firms that do corporate rentals and hospital rentals and furnished leasings, and they'll pay a premium. So they're talking real big numbers. I'm not even getting up in the clouds on what that could potentially be. But if we could get just an extra $1,000 a month on the one bedrooms, an extra $1,000 a month on the two bedrooms because we had furnished units and we did something with the corporate rentals, it takes the valuation of this building, which at a market valuation probably worth about $13 million. But because all that additional revenue from the corporate rentals would go pretty much straight to the bottom line. Obviously, we're taking care of utilities and we have to furnish the units. So it'll add $500,000 to the budget, and it'll add probably $100, $200 a month for the utilities expense as well per unit, but majority of that income goes straight to the bottom line, and it takes the valuation from $13 million up to north of $20 million. So that is part of the conversations that we're having right now, and we're always looking at ways of how do we increase income and how do we decrease expenses. One way to increase the income is going to corporate rentals. The other thing that we might be able to do is just get an Airbnb short-term rental license, take one or two of the buildings and throw it on an Airbnb type of a concept as well. And typically there you get 2 to 3 times as much in rent that you would in a normal situation on an annual lease. So potentially on the one bedrooms, we could get somewhere between $3,000 to $4,000 a month in rent on those if we put it on an Airbnb program. So conceptually thinking about some different ideas on ways to increase income. We're hardening the units, putting in LVT flooring and granite countertops, and making sure that the units are nice, clean, safe, functional, and hardened, that they can't get messed up. So that way when a tenant moves out, we can come in, clean it, take a day to clean it all out, and touch it all up, and we can re-rent it the next day. So that reduces our turnover time, which then reduces our expense, which is typically the largest expense in owning rental property, is going to be your turnover cost. So if we can reduce that as much as possible, again, that goes straight to the bottom line and increases and impacts the total valuation of the property in a big, big way. So we're always doing things like that, again, in order to increase income, decrease expenses, because if you can increase the net operating income, there's a multiple that comes into place, the cap rate, that increases the value of the building exponentially by doing so. So let's go outside and we'll take a little walk around. All right, so these are the other two buildings that were not framed up. We got the joists here, and it's all getting framed up right now. This should be done in the next week or two. And then over here, there's more land that they're working on pouring the foundations for in the next couple of weeks. And there's gonna be another 12-unit building over here. So we'll have access to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buildings. This over here is all green space. I think we might do a dog park or do something along those lines. Try to find some sort of an amenity. Maybe put some picnic tables up, as simple as that, and allow us, to offer some sort of amenities to the tenants. But plenty of parking space, not an issue on that front. On the land that's over there, we could actually put more buildings up, but the issue becomes the parking. So unless we can lean on this, then,
Raise the building buildings up,
Well-
parking underneath?
Yeah, potentially. It just adds a lot more cost, you know. And I don't think they would give us the zoning to go 4 stories, which would throw us off. But maybe we can lean on this parking over here. So I don't know. We'll see. We're talking to the city on it and seeing how many we can get zoned. Because right now we can get 48,
12 here and how many here?
12 and 12.
12 and 12.
Yep. So every building has 12 units, but there's a breakup of how many ones versus twos. I think one of the buildings is all 1 bedrooms, and then 2 of the buildings have 4 1 bedrooms, 4 1 bedrooms, and I think both of these are all 2 bedrooms, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, we are walking across the road here from the 60 units that we're building to look at a piece of land that we have under contract to build potentially another 48 units, maybe 60 units. We have it under contract. We got due diligence for another 30 days or so. And yeah, it gives us the economies of scale of having 60 units next to 48 units. We got a great deal on it. Obviously, all our contractors are already across the street. We'll just move them right over here afterwards. And this is my first time actually coming and seeing the land. The story with it is, it was actually approved for 48 units years and years and years ago. And the owners of the land just had too many other projects going on, so they didn't. They just let it sit, and they were going to sell it, and obviously we're right there, so we're making moves on it, so I'm pretty excited for it.
All right, so right now we're directly across the street from the other 60 units that we're building, and we just contracted this land. It's actually more land than over there, but right now it's currently approved for 48 units. We think we can get 60 units over here. There's a little bit of an issue we might run into from a parking, but we don't need a retaining pond like we needed over there as well. So I think we can get 60 units, no problem. We might even be able to get 72, but then they'd have to tear down these oak trees, and I'm kind of a tree hugger, and so I don't want to do that. So we're not going to do that. I think I would just limit it at 60 doors, but we could put, again, another 5 buildings exactly like those right over here, take those plans and bring it over here. So now they kind of mirror each other. Same design, and then we have efficiencies in management. So now it drops our management expense substantially because we can have on-site management for the 2 projects, on-site maintenance for the 2 projects, on-site leasing for the 2 projects. So now there's, again, efficiencies there. So we're really excited to have this along with that, and again, continue building the portfolio in this part of the country. So we're wrapped up here at the 60-unit apartment complex that we have outside of Charleston, South Carolina, and we'll keep you guys posted as we get a little bit further along in the process. I'll show you guys next phase as we're doing the finishing touches on each of these units, and then show you guys more about the foundation and the framing and all that kind of good stuff as we go through the process of building these out. And I'll keep you posted on the land across the street on how that development project develops.